You're now listening to Let the Jameson Sink In with your hosts, Violet and Pav, where we discuss your anonymous perspectives and tea on real life topics from relationships, sex, politics, celebrity gossip, and everything in between.
I think now I'm ready to have to discuss the next topic. Really, really useful, and take it away.
All right, thanks. Thanks everyone for sharing your stories and whatnot. That's been great. Such a great conversation to have. The second topic that we're having is, does the body positivity movement exclude men? This is actually one of Edge's Edge's babies, I guess. Her idea as a topic. So, Edge, do you want to kind of speak to your thought process, what behind it, etc.?
Sorry, I'm shooketh. Now I'm host too. Right. So the reason I thought this would be a good idea to talk around is because I think I was living a very ignorant life. I didn't know that men had feelings until very recently. I had a rude awakening to this world when a few years ago, I started doing a segment on my Instagram story, which was called Fine Fridays. It's dead now, but it was live at the time. So the format of this was we would have kind of a tongue-in-cheek discussion about men's aesthetic. So I would find like good-looking guys on Instagram, which there are lots of them. We don't run out. Most of them black, most of them chiseled, and then it was for the ladies. It was for the ladies to enjoy the more kind of flirty side of themselves, because to be honest, I was just sick of being shamed for having, I guess, sexualized thoughts, which most women do, but we suppress, especially I would say African women, because of the mantra around religiousness and Christianity and saving yourself for marriage and all the rest of it. But we're out here, we're thirsty, it's true. I will put my hand up and say that. So
say that again, please. You're what? You need some water? Is that
what For those of you on YouTube, I'm drinking water right now. This is an audio visual. Anyway, I did that segment for 3 years, and what I learned in that 3 years is that men are really insecure. There wasn't a single week that would go by that someone wouldn't come into my DMs and be salty and say, "That's not a real body, you know. That's steroids, you know. Real men don't look like that." And I'm like, I'm actually not talking to you here. This guy looks like that, and these are his photos. So, I haven't gone and taken pictures of him from the bedroom. He's posted these photos, and I am appreciating them. I appreciate anyone who goes to the gym. But what I realize is that I think when some men see that, what they see is you rejecting them, and they take it very personally. And I'm thinking, where does this come from? Like, why? I really didn't realize. And then I thought, actually, hang on. If women can see Instagram models and feel insecure when they see them, and this affect their body image, then why would it not affect a man's? And I really had to stop and think about it. And to some extent, I then started feeling responsible. And I even changed Fine Fridays to include normal guys. But none of the girls were checking for them, and that's a conversation for a different day. But that's where it comes from.
Sorry, I just want to. I just need you to define normal guys, please. Like, what's a normal guy? Like, can you give me a definition of that, please?
Okay, so the definition of a normal guy by Fine Friday standards is just someone who isn't completely ripped, doesn't spend their whole time in the gym. Might be a little bit thinner, might be a little bit juicier, just looks like a standard guy you see on an average day on the street, has a nice smile, has a good job, takes pictures with his mother,
The real people, actually.
They're real guys.
And a great personality.
And a great personality.
Cool, thanks for that, Edge. So we put this out on our Instagram and Twitter and got a few responses back. General consensus was that men are judged way less on their weight and women have stricter beauty standards that they have to adhere to. And the general questions were, is it as much of a hindrance on men if they aren't quote unquote in shape? Because seems like, generally speaking, the odds are in our favors anyway, like male privilege, etc. So, and plus, it's not really talked about as much. So, is it really us suffering, I guess? So, yeah, just wanted to sort of discuss, I guess, with everyone, the men especially in the chat. So, me personally, I can definitely admit to having some form of insecurity about my physique, my body, etc. I don't go to the gym, to be honest with you.
Definitely a fact, that makes it.
Do you say I'm a snack?
Yeah, I did.
You heard it here
Thanks.
first.
I mean, even I thought you were a snack. I'm just laying out there. Yeah,
Ed,
how?
Ed, do you need to say?
Yeah, I thought you were a snack too, Pav. The snackiest snack in Toronto.
I was just too good for Fine Fridays, yeah. It was just.
These women don't deserve you. They're vultures. They don't deserve you.
This has been a good ego stroke. I like it. But yeah, no. So definitely have over the years. I mean, I've got a recurring shoulder problem, so I've never actually gone in recent years to the gym because I'm always worried about aggravating it some more. So I've kind of don't really help myself either. But no, I've definitely growing up. Before I hit puberty, I was definitely a lot chubbier, etc., and felt the type of way, especially like PE classes, PE's physical education for UK people, for non-UK folk is basically just like gym class, I guess. And yeah, obviously you have to like all change in front of each other, and you feel some type of way about changing in front of each other, etc. So yeah, I definitely have felt that. I guess to Josh and Redmond, have you guys sort of experienced that kind of insecurity as well? Yes, no, maybe.
Who's gonna go first? Sorry.
Redmond, you can go.
All right. Yeah, I have felt that insecurity, but I'm also American, right? So like, we're a very confident bunch, regardless of what people think about like what I look like. Like, regardless if I'm really skinny or really big, like to me, it's like, yo, you losing out regardless because I'm dope. Like that's our mentality. But I think there's definitely, I feel like there's when women talk about their ideal guy, they talking about fucking Thor from you know what I'm saying? Like he's got a damn hammer and he's electrocuting motherfuckers everywhere and stuff like that. So there can definitely be definitely be
those who are listening in and they're not actually looking at the audio.
But I mean, I think a lot of it, because I was kind of the opposite, right? Like I grew up, I always had weight issues. And actually in in high school, I was kind of in shape. I don't know, I was doing like Taibo. That's when that was the shit, man. And like just doing push-ups and sit-ups every day. Like, I don't know how I got into that. So I was pretty fit. But then I got really, really big. And I think the biggest thing about the body positivity thing is I feel like for women, it's very accepted. It's like, love your body, love yourself, love thyself. You know what I mean? But for men, it's like, if you love yourself, you eat healthy and work out. You know what I mean? Like that's the thought process when it comes to men. It's like, oh, you're beautiful the way you are as a woman, which is true because I tend to like women on the much, the plump side, so to speak. And I find that to be attractive. And I think for men, there's a range of physical body types for women that we like. When sometimes I find a lot of women, it's like, yo, he better not have a 6-pack. He better have an 8-pack. Okay. And his legs, you know what? He better look like a watermelon with them legs, but muscles. Like, he better have his veins and his eyelids better be popping out. Okay? So, and it's hard because you go through this life, for me, because I'm always on this weight loss journey, and you don't recognize, like, well, nobody taught me about healthy eating and the benefits of exercise outside of the physical aspect of, like, oh, even honestly, actually, if you watch like some YouTube videos of fitness guys of why they're saying you should get fit, it's always the first thing they will say, be like, yo, the ladies, man, the ladies are gonna come and they're gonna love you and da 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 da. But for women, it's more of a love yourself. So like we don't even have that self-love portion added to it. So it's kind of hard to, you know.
And I'd agree with that too. And I think it's because of how it's perceived. It's kind of perceived as like soft, in it. It's like telling a guy to self-love yourself. A guy would be like, do you know what I mean? So like, I feel like that's the reason why, and I feel like that's the reason why our reasons tend to be more to do with being attractive for women. It's never about the softer side of it. In my experience, I've never been big. I was always quite lean. I had a great metabolism when I was young, and it just kept me in a good place for a long time without me having to really do much work. But I came from the other side, so like after a while, and I also work in a gym. I started being around a lot more guys who were like really hardcore into working out. Right? They would spend 2.5 hours in the gym minimum. Like it was like just mind blowing to me because I'd never really been in that situation like that before. And like I found myself looking at men now thinking, yo, like what you said, Redmond, is that, I wanted people had the 6-pack, but I'm like, yo, I want that 8. I don't want the V cut. And I want my ass to be like flipping because I know women love big butt too. Yeah, see? Edge. Yeah, I know that's your flavor. I know. So like, that's what, like, I then was kind of like, oh shit, like, okay, this is where I need to be at. So like all my, gym Instagram people, like, they're these big dudes, like all the guys that Edge was posting on Fine Fridays. You know what I mean? Just, like, and that's the side that I came from. So I think for the most part, it usually is to do with women why men want to get that way. Obviously, there are some exceptions with people who, need it for health reasons. But yeah, it's usually for the woman, and it's pressure that we put on ourselves as opposed to like, outside. But yeah, that would be my take on that. So
It's also it's almost like a fantasy land type of thing, though, right? Like, cause like if you're in a relationship, right, and you're both fit, and one of you start to gain weight, right? If it's a woman telling the guy you've gotten fat, right? That takes a whole different meaning than if it's the man telling the woman that she's gotten fat.
true.
You know what I mean? Like it's a completely different thought process around that. You know what I mean? Like for her, in her mind, when she said that to the man, it's like, oh, you need to work out, be healthy again. But for us, if we say that to the woman, it's like, well, I'm not beautiful anymore. Like, you don't love me anymore. Like you don't want to be with me no more. Like, what does it mean? So it can take on a whole different meaning.
Actually,
Edge wants to say something. Edge wants to, I can tell.
Connor.
And this is why I was saying that you guys are suffering potentially in silence, because from seeing the comments from women in Fine Fridays, I realize how savage some women are. And we don't tend to verbalize this. But there's definitely a double standard. You could see a thicker girl saying, "Oh no, I don't date thick guys. That's not attractive." And it's so strange to me. I'm like, why would you not date someone that looks like you? It doesn't make sense. But it's like, then I think, who is checking for these guys? Because even when I hear some women say, "Oh, I like a dad bod," or I don't like a guy that goes to the gym too much, it tends to be not because they're not attracted to that aesthetic, but because it makes them feel insecure about themselves. They don't want to see other women looking at their man because they're like, then the competition never ends type thing. I like a guy that with time is going to get soft. I'm going to be sure that he's off the market and no one's going to look at him again, which when you think about that, that's mad. Imagine if I started dating someone and they fashioned me up so that no man will find me attractive again. That would be mad. That would actually be crazy.
Do that. They do that.
Yeah.
Who does that? Men do that.
Wait, men fatten up women? Wait, what?
Yeah. They're like feeding them and like, oh yeah, this is how I like them. And
So wait. So
all I'm gonna say,
if a woman wants to feed the man, is she fattening him up?
all I'm gonna say is my husband's gonna be very, very happy with when I'm ready, when I'm finished. When he's gonna be eating 3 meals a
Yo,
day.
violence
So
our project.
if he gets bigger after, it's not gonna be, intentional, but it might happen. Saying.
Edge actually made a really good point about the whole dad bod thing, and I don't know if you guys have seen on social media recently, last couple of years, people are saying that they prefer the whole dad bod situation versus men that go to the gym. And I guess my question to the ladies is, I mean, it may not necessarily be your guys' opinion, but just as a sort of curiosity perspective, do you think that's more of like they look like they're ready to start a family kind of thing, or is it more because, like you said, no one's gonna look at them and therefore they feel more secure in the relationship and not worry about cheating, etc.?
Okay, so you guys might hate me, but I am not into the dad bod, and I don't really look at the guys that way at all. Like, I have friends with dad bods, and I'm like, you are a teddy bear, and I love you for that. But because I go to the gym quite often, I need a guy that follows my lifestyle and who is equally invested in his own health. It's not about the looks. I mean, the looks it's great. I have to accept the fact that they look great when they go to a gym, but for me, it's about their lifestyle. And if the guy that has a dad bod, like, if it's naturally that way, I'm like, yeah, sure, you do you. But if they do it in a sense that I have a dad bod and I like it, I'm not going to take care of my health, then that's an issue for me. Because if you're going to sit down on the couch and you're going to eat and drink your Corona, no, I'm not even going to think twice. I'm going to leave. But I can understand. Sorry. No, please. Go ahead.
I have a question. I feel like playing devil's advocate. That's what I do. Okay.
Okay.
I want to say is, are we when it comes because this is dating related now. When it comes to dating, are we holding physical preferences to the highest standard, and that means the most than the other characteristics people actually want? Are we focusing too much on the body and not focusing enough on, these humanistic characteristics that this person have align with mine, and that makes me feel good? Because really, realistically, when people fall in love, nobody goes like, oh my God, he had a 6-pack, and I was just like, I'll just head over heels. It's always about the way
her drink, because that is exactly. I'm sure that is what she thinks.
Because at the end of the day,
look away from the camera.
At the end of the day, when you fall in love, when people say, oh, I'm in love with them, they talk about how that person makes them feel. It's not about how they look. You know what I mean? Because look, for me, I'm not the most in shape guy, right? When I probably don't stand out when I walk into a club or anything. But as soon as I open my mouth, it's done. It's over. I don't care who in there. Okay, I don't care what the guy looks like. It's a wrap. I got this in the bag. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So and I feel like we hold physical attraction over other things that can make a person attractive. You know what I mean?
But don't you think that's how society is nowadays with the whole dating app and looking for the whole superficial side of things? Like, that's just how we've been I guess conditioned, for lack of another word.
Yeah. Are we talking about, because can a person look attractive in the face though, and not necessarily have a physical attractive body? Like, would you find that attractive? Is that something you'd be like, okay, this person don't have fine Friday abs, but you know what, he got fine Friday face. You know what I mean?
That's the new segment right there. Come on.
Oh my God.
You know what? I need to speak on this, right? I need to speak on this. This is gonna be controversial. Some people are gonna call me all sorts of names for this, but let's be real, okay? You're talking about love. For me to even get to love, you need to deliver on lust. Let's just be honest. And that is the case with men. All men are like this. You guys are ruthless. You might be like, oh, well, I like women in all shapes of, all ends of the spectrum. They're attractive. But are you going to date a woman you don't find attractive? No. Full stop. You will not. When it comes to girls, it's always, why aren't you looking at their face? What about their good personality? This and the other. No, women also need to see you and go, fwa. Now, a lot of girls will go out with guys that they don't find physically attractive from the start. But You're putting the work to trick us into loving you. It's not instant.
Okay, now we're.
Let me finish.
Hold on.
Alright, cool. Let her finish.
So, and this is where I take offense, right? I am not saying that every man needs to look the same. I'm just an expert in what I find attractive. You just need to float my boat. If you come into my store and you want to sell something to me, I need to see you and you need to float my boat, right? In my personal, I don't need the guy to have an 8-pack. I mean, it's very nice. And if you slept on a man's chest that goes to the gym, that is heaven, girls. I'm just recommending it. Try it once before you die. Just do that. But like for me, softer, rounder bodies to me are feminine, right? And the minute I see that, I'm instantly less attracted to you because I feel like now you're feminine and I'm not attracted to women. I have a big pair of breasts myself. I don't want you to have one as well. Like there are things that I just see in a man and I'm like, okay, if this is feminine, it's going to turn me off. And I don't want to apologize for that. I can tell you, I don't have to go in and be like, oh, I don't like your body XYZ, but I should be able to respectfully say, sorry, I'm not attracted to you in that way and to move on. And for you not to be like, wow, like you really, that's why you're going to be single is because you're looking for a guy that you find attractive. Like, really? Is this a conversation we have to have with women? Because let's be honest, you guys, men do not compromise. You don't date women that you don't find physically attractive. Full stop. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we don't have they don't have to have the perfect, you know what I'm saying, body for us to be attracted to them, though. You know what I mean? They can have, as a guy like me, I like thick girls, big butt, big breasts. But if a woman doesn't have all of those things, doesn't mean I'm not attracted to her still, or could not still be attracted to her. But to continue to play devil's advocate with what you said, right? Let's say you just find that guy with the 6-pack, whatever. He's, you washing whatever on his stomach or whatever. You washing your clothes with his stomach, some shit, whatever, right? And he gains weight, and you've been together 5 years, right? What's happening in that relationship?
Oh, can I say something about that?
Go ahead.
Because I was in a 5-year relationship with a dude that had beautiful abs and he grew fat because of me.
So you did that.
Dude, I mean, I cook good food, alright. Boy just didn't want to go to the gym.
That's gonna be me.
But like, you see, I was attracted to him because of his looks before he even opened his mouth. And then, like what Ed said, last per se. And throughout the 5 years, of course, I gained weight too. I can't lie. So like the weight fluctuations, blah, blah, blah. Towards the end, the weight became a problem because to him, he was like, why aren't you losing weight? And to me, I'm like, do I tell you you've become fat? Do I tell you have a dad bod? Because to me, if I tell him he has a dad bod, it's like I shot him through the head and he will take offense. Whereas for me, it's for me to become more pretty. So the double standards is there for sure, 100%. And throughout a 5-year relationship, thank God it ended. But yeah, weight is a thing. Size is a thing. And which is why for me, after becoming, I converted into into a healthy lifestyle, right? How a person looks is not just for his 8-pack or whatever. It's the way he takes care of himself. If he lets himself go and says he has a dad bod, no, I'm not going to take that as an excuse at all. You may be an amazing person.
My question to you, though, is did that relationship end because he gained weight?
More like his insecurities due to gaining weight. And he projected it.
And that's a thing. That is a thing.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask a question. Sorry, I got all these questions now. You know what I mean?
You just try not to give your experience here. You just try to ask questions and not share your experiences. I see you, Redmond.
Because I'm wondering, I find that women want men to be a large emotional support for them in relationships, regardless of what's going on. If they gain weight, if they're depressed about something, if they're insecure about something. Are women doing that as well for men when they become insecure about their bodies and what's I don't even know how to phrase the question, to be honest with you. It's kind of like I feel like I get a sense of like it's okay on one side to do it, but it's not okay on the other side. You know what I mean? Like this thing is okay.
That's the double standard, though. That is where the double standard comes.
You know, because like, and this maybe just my personal experience. You know, I wouldn't necessarily if a person became insecure, they gained weight, blah 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 blah. I feel like as a partner, part of my job is to try to figure out how to guide them through that. You know what I mean? And if I can't guide them through that, then it's just trying to figure out what's going to happen next. So I just don't know what the roles are, I guess, is what I'm saying when it comes to those situations. You know, like, do you go, you know what? You're getting fat, homie. You've been eating too many Krispy Kremes. Okay. And it's time to drink some water, you know, and eat some spinach. Or do I just be like, you know what, let's dip out. It's peace. Deuces. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what the roles are supposed to be when it applies to things that happen to both men and women, but they're I guess executed differently based on the person's sexual or you know, based on their gender.
Josh, I really want to say something for a while before we bye.
I was disagreeing basically with what Raymond was saying. Like, it's just different. There is a difference in how we communicate, right? And you know, I think it does affect men in the same way. Like, I think that it would do a woman, but it's just we have to carry, we have to hold it better, and be stronger, like because of it. But like I was agreeing with a lot of things that was going on. There was a lot of conversation, but like the whole bit that like Edge was talking about on the back end of what she was saying, like I agree with what it is that you're saying in terms of I think look comes before everything, and I have this conversation with my cousin all the time, like all the time. And there was one point where she was like, "Yeah, like you know, I like him for his personality." I'm like, "Okay, but what?" What was it that got you there? And I'm not saying that there isn't instances where you don't find someone attractive and then you get to know them over a certain period of time and you're like, oh wow, like, you know, this person vibes with me. I like them a little bit. But I feel like a person's looks is a big driver, I feel like, um for lasting relationships because you do want to stay attracted to that person. Else when Thor comes along with his chiseled body or whatever, then it's like, yo, you're under pressure, right? And the woman's under pressure, and next thing you know, you're in a situation which might project you to jail time. I don't know. So it's like, yo, I think that it's a big factor in the way that people go about doing things, but don't necessarily acknowledge, accept. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I think that going back to in the olden days, say like, you know, our parents, our grandparents, looks were never a prerequisite for men. It was not something that women would do as you know, okay, how do I choose a man? Or how do I get chosen by a man? So the man is security. So what the things that women would look for in men, looks wasn't really one of them. It was around, you know, the type of job, what type of family is he from, maybe more around genetics, is he healthy, will he give me healthy offspring? But for women in those days, it was, you know, their look. So we always had to make sure that we came up to be chosen. So I think it's where the men would choose the women. This is the person I'm going to make be my wife. We had to make sure that we had something to bring, and what we were bringing was our look. Now, as women are more independent, or women are now, we're doing our own thing. We now have realized that we can now be the choosers. We can now say, actually, I want this man, I don't want this man, I want this man, I don't want this man. And this is why a lot of us who are in our age group, you know, in the millennials, the young, the late 20s, early 30s, a lot of us are still single because me, I'm like, well, I haven't actually met the guy that I want to settle down with yet. But everyone's like, oh, you're so picky, Violet. Am I picky, or do I just have a standard that I'm refusing to lower? Why should I lower my standards for someone who I don't feel I should be with? And I think I have a lot to offer. So when I find the person, I'm not gonna say I care about bodies as much as maybe Gem and Ed does. For me, it's more about how we can help each other grow, what personality like. I like personality maybe more than this. But I'm a tall girl and I'm a big girl, so maybe if I was gonna choose something to look a guy that's tall, maybe. But I do always mostly end up with maybe guys that same height as me because I'm tall anyway, and I'm okay with that. But there are other things that I just refuse to compromise on when it comes to choosing a guy. And I think now men are having to maybe do more things to maybe get that attraction, because it's not okay. You don't just have to have a great car and a great job anymore. There's now another variable that's been added to the mix. How do I get picked? How will I get this girl to choose me? I think it's just the dynamics are changing.
Yeah.
So with that being said, then, do you think that is now promoting men to spend more time in the gym? Huh?
I think that's a good question. I don't think I've seen personally more men being in the gym. I think it's things where, for example, Edge's Fine Fridays, which I love. I have to say, I was one of those girls who was very harsh on Fine Fridays. Unfortunately, I sometimes she'll post a guy and I'll pick out the smallest thing, because I'm at this point. I'm like, okay, well, she's picking these men who are supposed to supposedly be perfect. So I'm like, that one has a funny nose, or I'm not sure about his mustache. Why does it look like that? Like, something small and random I'll pick out. I'm like, as if I could get any of these men. But I think it's situations like that, and then men start to feel threatened. Like, ooh, there are men out there that are like this, so maybe I need to up my game to make sure that how we used to have to up our game to make sure we were picked. I think that's probably what's happening now.
I want to piggyback off that and sort of ask Redmond a question, if that's all right.
Okay.
So obviously you were saying you've gone through your own journey with regards to your weight, etc. How would you say that's affected your sort of mental health with regards to when you have been, say, a bigger man, etc.? Did it sort of impact you in any way?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because you can't go into you got to go to a special store to get clothes. You know what I mean? Because the clothes at the Bay or wherever where everybody else can go, you can't get those clothes, and clothes don't fit nicely. They don't fit as nicely. And there's a lot of different things. When I was at my biggest, it probably was I definitely was over 300 pounds. It was something crazy. I have a picture of it somewhere that I'm not gonna show. But I think just losing weight, it helped with the confidence a lot. I mean, I was already a very confident person, but it helped in different ways as far as the clothes I like to wear, I can actually go get that now. And it can look good and it feels nice. So I don't know if it's a lot of different factors because of where I grew up. You know what I mean? Women are always the goal. That's just the thing, right? It's just whatever. But I mean, I think just it's trying to focus away from that. It's trying to not focus on, oh yeah, the girls are gonna like me because I look good, to you're gonna live longer because you're much healthier now. You know what I mean? And you try to focus on that. Yeah, but it's very hard because you watch Fine Fridays. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. And I understand that women have we all have preferences for body types, but I don't want the lack of a specific body type to discourage people from being able to find somebody that might be really good for them. You know what I mean? And that's also, the body is something you can work on. You can fix that. There's certain things, I'm not a very tall guy, but I don't have no control over that. That's that I can worry about. I have no control over. But a body is something that you can gain weight, you can lose weight, you can gain muscle, you can lose fat, like, and I think sometimes, maybe you find that right person that's just like, it helps you identify these things or create habits that can help you with a healthy lifestyle. But I don't think that's taught, because I think that if an in shape guy, if a fine Friday guy got with Lizzo, so to speak, right? People would be like, "Oh my God, I love that he loves her. Oh my God, I love that." You know what I mean? But if it's a man, it'll be like, "Girl, I can't believe he picked all this fine Friday man out here, and you picked that guy." You know what I mean? But I will say the advantage that men do is that there are other things. Like, I feel like there's other standards, like outside of looking good, where part of the insecurity comes from is like, oh, you also have to have money, or you also have to have this particular profession. You know what I mean? You can't have good credit but work at Shoppers Drug Mart. You know what I mean? Like, there's all of these. So it's not just the body part, right? That's the issue. It's the fact that it leaks into all these other things as well.
And you know what? I think that's where I think it is becoming much harder for men, and it is really difficult. And for me as a woman, the reason that I'm very, I don't know, I would say I've become really quite stringent about my standards when it comes to the aesthetic is because if the relationship goes sour, I just know this is how I think. If the relationship goes sour and the guy's good looking, I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. If the relationship goes sour and the guy was not good looking, I'm like, wow, so an ugly guy broke my heart. I gave you a chance and I still ended up in this position. Let's not lie, it hurts worse. It hurts worse when you feel like you were going to do this thing, you were going to grow, and he cheats anyway. You were going to grow, and he's abusive. You were going to grow, and he broke. It hurts worse. It does.
I feel like that's interesting because I don't feel like any of those things have to do with a person's physicality at all. I think they just male behavior.
No, but I'm just saying if the physicality is not there as well, like
it's an easier pill to swallow, basically.
Yeah, but you will still get thrown out. I'm still throwing you out of the bedroom if you're very good looking, but you are an empty vessel. What we're trying to get to is a point where you have what you need in a partner as a whole. And yes, there's going to be times that you compromise. But what I'm saying is, I think, for women, we need to be forgiven for now, these days, being able to articulate that actually these are some of the things that we find attractive. And don't assume that every woman's going to be like me. Some women do genuinely like dad bods or thicker guys or teddy bears. That is their preference. It's not mine, but it's theirs. And same thing on when it comes to men coming back at us is that, being clearer and having those conversations with your partner as to if physical attraction is going to be a thing for you, then know that from the get-go, or tell her that she's beautiful so she doesn't have to think about that down the line and feel insecure. So it's about communication for me, because whoever meets me, they know that this is important to me. So it's not going to be a shock if down the line they're like, oh, she has an issue with my body, because from day one, I've told you, I'm this woman, I'm about this life. And I'm going to try and say, look in a certain way for you. And I hope that you would do the same for me, as a way of both keeping each other happy in this relationship and respecting what each other needs from each other. So that's my view anyway.
Yeah. I just kind of wanted to ask Josh. Obviously, you said you work in the gym, right? So you must have heard from men's perspectives, like firsthand, what they are working for, like going to the gym for, or and like another variety of reasons about their mental health, or being body shamed in public or with their friends or by women, etc. Like, have you got any sort of stories you can share there? Or
yeah. So when I got to the gym, like I said, I'm quite like lean kind of person. Always have been, and I'm a decent height, so I guess it looks different on me as well. But when I came in, like I think I went to start working at the gym, and one of the guys in the gym was like, "Yo, you work out?" Now this is like a area that I've dabbled in, but I've not really held like high motivation for. Like, it's just not my life, I just think. And he was like, yo, you go to the gym, yo, you need to work out. Like, and he was quite well built, as well, and he's been working in the gym for quite some time. And I think that was like the first time since being here that I looked at myself like, oh shoot, like, yo, what's wrong with me? Like, are other people looking at me and thinking the same thing? And now I'm in this environment where people are going to judge me on what I'm giving them or what I'm talking to them about based off of how I look. Now, that's why I guess I have stronger feelings towards the idea that a person's physicality means quite a lot, because it's the first thing that a person sees. And now I'm in the gym as well. Like, this is exactly the area where people are looking at trainers, or people are looking at other people in the gym and aspiring to want to have the things that they feel people are most like attracted to. So, I have a lot of weird requests when people come in, and again, it's just based off what people think is attractive or what people think other people are gonna respect. Um, and I had this one guy come in and said that he wanted to be like 2 inches taller, and I was like, "Yo, bro, like I don't know what we can do for you, but we can try and help on these other areas that you've also put down." But like these are the things, and I'm sure that that has come from. I'm pretty sure that that came from the idea that women like taller men.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure. A lot of the time when people come into the gym, especially males, the conversation does tend to steer towards looking aesthetically good. And there might be like a drop of, yeah, for the ladies. And I'm like, yeah. But like, this is the mindset of a lot of the people who come into the gym that are asking for memberships or they're asking for training. They're looking for a certain look, and it's so deep. So deep set, like for them, that they're willing to do more or less anything to kind of get there.
Yeah.
Right. And it's part and parcel, but it's work. And I guess someone mentioned it earlier on, it's finding the motivation to work out in the gym, because working out in the gym is like it's hard. Like, to keep motivated to go 4 times a week, 5 times a week, for some people, to be eating well and doing whatever. Like, you've got to have a certain level of motivation that will continue or make you continue on your journey.
Mm.
Now, there is a lot of people who are interested in like health, obviously, and what they're going to gain from it. But predominantly, first and foremost, the people are coming to look good aesthetically over anything else. Yeah, especially here in Toronto, like King Street, they all want to be on King Street with them King Street girls. So this is like, and the competition is greater here too, right? Because someone mentioned financial earlier on. There's a lot of people who are wealthier as well. Whether they're older or younger. Like I said, there's a lot of guys older living that Peter Pan lifestyle down here. But like, there's a lot more competition. So the younger guys who are not quite there yet, maybe financially, the thing that they can bring to the table is that they're young and can sculpt their body better than some of these probably older guys that have that financial money behind them.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a shock when I came here. I didn't expect it to be as such a big thing as it is, but everyone's trying to look fine down here. So
yeah.
They're willing to.
I feel like it's a more active country as well. Like, there's always, like, regardless of the weather, there are people doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Like, it's too much.
It's really weird. I don't know, like, if it's more of like because I see the transition right during the quarters. Obviously there's January and everyone's piling into the gym to try and start their New Year's goals and whatever else. But then also the fact that we have such a long winter, people are looking for ways to kind of escape being indoors and not just being sat and just eating and being on TV or whatever. Obviously living in these apartments is very small too. So like, I think that that's where such a big bulk of the people and why they're so interested in working out and going to the gym. I think that's the part of the big bulk as to why they do it. Honestly, if that answers your question, did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I think it's definitely something that, I mean, to obviously go back to the original point, I know we've gone kind of all over the place with this topic, but I guess it is fair to say that it does affect men in terms of our mental health, etc. It does play a big part in our, and not just for us, even for Hollywood celebrities. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter the other day, Zac Efron was trending because he looked like his face looked different, basically, and it looked like he had potentially put on weight or had plastic surgery, either or, and there was a lot of body shaming comments with that. And I mean, there's obviously been instances as well. I don't know if you guys remember the guy from Prison Break, Wentworth Miller. He had a massive change in his appearance, and people were shaming him, and he said that he was contemplating suicide as a result of that, etc. And even, for example, to go the other way, when people lose weight, extremely lose weight, like Chadwick Boseman before he passed away, and people were body shaming him then, I think it's definitely fair to say that we do need to be a bit more mindful of, I guess, the fact that it does affect men as well. Men are human too, right? At the end of the day, words do have an impact on us as men as well, and obviously we may not necessarily vocalize it as much, but because obviously men have that whole pride of don't want to talk about self-love and all that stuff. You gotta put on a brave face or whatever. So yeah, I definitely think that is fair to say. I kind of just had one more question before we wrap up. I know, Jem, you mentioned that you don't want to date men in your country anymore. Is that a result of this whole body type thing, or is this just more of a preference? Do you mind just touching on that for me?
I think it's just more of a preference. It's not about the body type. Malaysian men, because I date brown men. They all look good. They all take care of themselves, but there is a lot of ego and the other intrinsic things involved. And for me, because I'm a brown girl who was raised to always put myself first. And a lot of men here, they don't really want that. They want a submissive person, and I'm not that person. So I kind of realized outside the Malaysian borders are better. And yeah.
Right.
And I did meet someone. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? In Malaysia?
No, through Clubhouse. That's a
okay.
whole different podcast, bro.
Oh,
interesting.
This is what's going on Clubhouse. You need to hurry up and get on Android. On iPhone. And meet our person too.
All right, guys, thank you. We're going to start wrapping up now. So yeah, I just want to sort of give a conclusion about both topics. So yeah, in conclusion, for the first topic we talked about, obviously no one's perfect. We all have flaws. When we put celebrities and influencers on a pedestal and they fall short in our eyes by making a mistake, we get disappointed and potentially get lost, confused. And I feel like we should use wisdom and discernment to know what's right and wrong. In the same breath, influencers and celebrities should remember that they are out there influencing people, and their actions do sort of have a knock-on effect. So if they do slip up, there's nothing wrong with coming clean and showing us that you are taking steps to not slip again, because at the end of the day, we're all human, right? And to the second topic as well, everyone has their own preferences, and looks can be one of them. You should want to be motivated to work out for yourself and not for anyone else, because you will not be everyone's sort of cup of tea. But obviously, we do have to be cognizant of the fact that, I guess, these body shaming stereotypes that we put out there, they can have a knock-on effect on people's mental health and the way they look at themselves, etc. And it could just be a lot of triggering things that they may have from their past as well. So yeah, that's just my sort of conclusion of topics.
That was a great conclusion. Thank you so much. I also just want to say, remember, there are no right or wrong answers or opinions. We're just out here. We want to share your own opinions, your own perspectives. We hope everyone, including ourselves, we have taken something away from today's discussion. Thank you all for joining. Thanks, Edge. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Jem. Thanks, Redman, for joining us today. And to our listeners, thank you. To our subscribers, thank you. hope you will continue tuning in. So if you would like to take part in the next month's episode, please just remember, follow us at letthejameson.podcast on all platforms. Reply to us in our inbox with your anonymous responses to the weekly dilemmas. And don't forget, every last Sunday of the month, tune in for the podcast episode. So we are your hosts, Violet and Pav. Thank you for listening. Always drink and share responsibly.
Thanks, guys. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye. To send in your anonymous responses to the weekly dilemma and to get a preview of the next episode's topics, follow us at letthejameson.podcast on all platforms. We're your hosts, Pav and Violet. Thank you for listening. Always drink and share responsibly.